Welcome to another day of my October Spectacular, where for the 31 days of October, I will be uploading every single day on videos such as true crime, conspiracies, urban legends, song covers, vlogs, story times, lifestyle videos, just anything and everything with a bit of a spooky fall vibe. So please be sure to subscribe because you definitely don't want to miss when I upload. And for today's video, we are going to be talking about an urban legend that terrifies quite a lot of people, including myself, and it really makes you think about the type of people that wander into our everyday lives, and really reiterates the fact that if somebody comes up to your car and asks to come in, you should not let them. Black-eyed children are a modern-day urban legend that says there are children that exist among us between the ages of 6 to 16 who have pale skin and completely black, soulless eyes. Some say the black-eyed children are robotic, seemingly uncomfortable in their own skin, and just being in their presence exudes a sense of dread. These children are typically seen hitchhiking, so you may have even driven by one before on a lonely road in the evening. But sometimes, the black-eyed children are said to appear on your own doorstep, asking to come inside. It's in our nature as humans to want to help people, especially children, and even more so if they're by themselves. But as many people who've experienced encounters with the black-eyed children have said, you should never make friends with these children, and you should never let them inside. Tales of the black-eyed children boast many similarities when people run into them, and typically the story goes along the lines of when a person is sitting in their car, buckling their seatbelt, starting their car, whatever it is that they're doing, they are suddenly interrupted by a knock on their driver's side window. Oftentimes there's more than one child, and they look to be young children, preteens, or teenagers, usually wearing normal clothing, but sometimes it's been noted that their clothing looks a bit outdated. Once the person in the car sees them, they are often filled with an intense and confusing sensation of fear. These are just children, the person would tell themselves, and then shake off that feeling before proceeding to ask what the children wanted. The children would ask for a ride. They were going somewhere nearby. It wouldn't take them far out of their way. But the person still can't shake that sense of fear from these children. That's when they notice the bizarre feature about these kids. Their eyes are completely black. No iris, no pupil, and after a moment's hesitation, the person rolls up their car window. The children protest, banging on the window, saying that they can't enter the car unless the driver gives the children permission to, and the driver gets right out of there. But they're lucky, because like I said in the beginning of the video, sometimes the black-eyed children will come to your house. The second most common version of this story follows the idea that a family is sitting inside their house enjoying the evening watching some TV together when they get a sudden knock at their front door. The mother goes to answer and is met with two young children staring up at her, though she can't see them that well with the fading daylight. But she can tell that they're quite young, and these children ask if they can use her phone to call their mom. And the minute these children begin speaking, the mother is filled with an indescribable sense of terror. The mother is hesitant, and the children move a bit closer to the door, where the light then hits them. And that's when she notices that these little kids have jet black eyes, and her stomach drops, and it's like the kids realize that because now they're getting more persistent, pleading for permission to enter her home, crying and begging to be let in. But the mother knows there's something not right about the situation, so she closes the door. There are stories where the black-eyed children actually enter the house as well, including one where an elderly couple was in a similar situation. When they heard a knock at the door, they answer it, and there are two young children standing there. The children wanted to be let inside while they waited for their parents, so the couple let the kids inside. The children did not respond when the couple would ask them questions, other than at one point one of the children asked to use the bathroom, and that's when the couple noticed the children's eyes. The wife showed the children the bathroom and then saw that her husband's nose was bleeding. Then the power went out. The wife went to go check on the children, and all she heard were their hushed voices saying, "Our parents are here." The children then exited the house, leaving the door wide open as they walked out. Two very tall men were waiting at the end of the driveway, with the car that the black-eyed children got into. The power in the elderly couple's home came back on shortly after the car left. But then, odd things began happening within their house. 3 of their cats went missing before being found a little while later, lying dead in a pool of their own blood. And at the same time, the husband kept on getting nosebleeds. And when he went to the doctor, he discovered that he had very progressive skin cancer. There are other accounts when this happens with an older teenage boy who comes across a girl around his age at his house who's asking to be let inside, but when he refuses, he starts feeling this pull to go back and let her in, which is also something I've heard a lot about in the various accounts from people who say they've had experiences with black-eyed children, is that once you see these children's eyes, there's like this push and pull within you that you know that something is wrong with these children and that you should get as far away from them as fast as possible. But at the same time, you're subconsciously beginning to help them out. You're walking closer to your door, you're starting to roll down your window. So it seems like these black-eyed children can be quite powerful. Though there is still something that's blocking them from just going inside your house or your car and doing what they wish. Quite similar to how demonic entities are said to need permission before entering your space, or vampires. The origins of the black-eyed children legend are said to date back to around 1996, where a reporter from Texas named Brian Bethel wrote a couple of posts on a ghost-related website where he told the stories of two different experiences he and another person had had with black-eyed children, where his took place in Texas involving two black-eyed children, and the other had their own separate experience in Portland, Oregon. Now, Brian Bethel affirms that his story with the black-eyed children is legitimate, though many people regard his story as being an example of a classic creepypasta, which are scary stories that have copied around the internet over time. I realize that I talk about creepypastas here and there on my channel, and I guess I never really go into an explanation of what the definition of the term is, and some people have been asking me what a creepypasta is. So I'm very sorry for not explaining that properly in other videos, but essentially, the word itself comes from the word copypasta, which is a portmanteau of copy-paste, and I believe this term originated on the website 4chan. So these are stories that are often copied and pasted to different websites and forums all over the internet, and then creepypasta is the horror equivalent of those stories. So the story with the black-eyed children started getting out of hand back in 2014 when the Birmingham Mail, a newspaper in the UK, reported on a paranormal investigator named Lee Brickley and his investigations into the apparent sightings of black-eyed children at a salon in Cannock, Staffordshire, where a woman claimed to have seen a child with completely black eyes. Brickley also said that the sightings of black-eyed children went all the way back into the 1980s, and not the mid-90s like it was thought from the Brian Bethel stories. Shortly after the newspaper ran their story, a UK tabloid called the Daily Star ran a number of front-page stories themselves, recounting the investigation that Lee Brickley embarked on, perpetuating the story of the black-eyed children by saying there was a pub in Cannock that was haunted by many ghosts, as well as one that is a child with black eyes. And while there very well could be black-eyed children ghosts, these supposed pictures that people have taken of black-eyed children over the years are simply just photoshopped, obviously with stock photos. A science writer named Sharon A. Hill did a lot of digging into the origins of black-eyed children, trying to see if there had been any other unrelated claims made about this phenomena, and she was unable to find evidence, concluding that black-eyed children are nothing more than that akin to a campfire story. But others believe that black-eyed children are a type of alien species who are trying to reach out to their home planet, or that they're a human-alien hybrid, which would explain their black eyes, as stereotypical aliens have big black eyes. And it could also be the reason for the black-eyed children's supposed unnatural movement, behavior, and clothing, since if they aren't properly socialized or were taught by aliens who didn't know a ton about the cultural climate on Earth, then these black-eyed children would likely be acting very strange and appearing to be uncomfortable in the presence of regular people. And it could also be why the black-eyed children are said to not really respond to the people that they come up to, because perhaps, if this theory is true, these black-eyed children don't really understand our language that well. Others believe that they see them when they're experiencing sleep paralysis, while some people think that they are a new form of a witch. A non-paranormal explanation as to why the black-eyed children have black eyes is said to be due to children who have taken some sort of drug and their pupils had dilated, and that's why they were exhibiting strange behavior. But of course there's zero evidence for that, but there are always people trying to come up with a logical explanation for things. As well, with this being such a popular urban legend in our generation, there could very well be people out there who would be willing to take what is most likely just a fictional story and bring it to life in order to get a scare out of somebody or to rob somebody, where kids or young adults could get a pair of all black contact lenses, and use that to make somebody believe that they're a black-eyed child. So I think with many of us having the inclination to automatically believe something is paranormal when something a little bit strange happens, in this case I think we need to be a bit more diligent, as one could definitely get pranked or even robbed by somebody who had just gotten some black contacts. There was a movie produced based on the legend of the black-eyed children that came out in 2012, which had been funded through a $9,500 Kickstarter called Sunshine Girl and the Hunt for Black-Eyed Kids. The movie was a spin-off of a popular YouTube horror series called Haunted Sunshine Girl, where these characters from Sunshine go on an adventure to look into the origins of the black-eyed children legend. So if you're out at night, or even just sitting in your living room when the sun goes down, keep in mind that the black-eyed children could be watching you, and they could be walking up the stairs to your front door or your driver's side window as we speak, wanting to be let in.